What is up folks, Jack here with a Witcher video. Yeah, it's been a minute, huh? Since I made one related to this very topic. I think the last Witcher, well, Netflix one that I made was about 2 years ago, regarding the good old times where everybody was thinking that the HTW were going to ruin everything and that Roach was supposedly going to be played by a camel. Oh yeah, those were good days, but guess what? Turns out that the Witcher Netflix show turned out to be pretty good. And all that, despite the fact that some characters didn't exactly look like your favorite Tumblr fanfiction. God damn, the internet is a weird place. But we're not here to talk about the past, instead let's focus on the future. Now season 2 of the Witcher Netflix show is something that a lot of people have been looking forward to, and this is after all a show that did dethrone The Mandalorian in terms of views, and it's not a small feat. Well, that one show is a whole other debacle. But today some bit of a drama regarding the fandom and the decision of writings have occurred, so let's jump into some gameplay so that you don't have to stare at this beautiful face. But first, let's do a little bit of a recap, because while many did like Season 1, not everybody were fans of the way that the story was told. Especially not when it came to the whole time traveling things. It kind of felt like one of those late 80s Indian movies where there were just way too many cuts. So, how many cuts do you want in this movie? Yes. Nevertheless, this season managed to tackle a whole lot of topics. Namely the curse on King Foltest's daughter Ada, the one on Dooney, and some few others. The medieval way of child abortion in the Law of Surprise was also introduced, which they did a lot better than Game of Thrones.
The things I do for love.
And through the slew of subplots that this series managed to introduce, I think we all got a good understanding of how the world of The Witcher works. From the supremacy of Nilfgaard, the inbreeding of Temeria, the Sintrans false... Sintra, I'm sorry. They even got a little bit of the clan of Skellige there, so overall, it was pretty dope. Now, one could discuss whether or not they could have expanded a little bit on the last wish thing, or even the Sword of Destiny, but that is a personal preference. I'm recalling all of this because with the upcoming season, there's going to be a very nice focus on the Witchers this time around. Yes, step aside, Witchers, we are going to be talking about the boys this time. Yes, this second season is going to take us to Kaer Morhen, and for the uninitiated, or if you haven't even played any of the Witcher games, Kaer Morhen is an old keep where the witches of the School of the Wolf were trained. This is a fortress that can only be reached through what is called the Witcher's Trail. This is a fortress that is famously known for being very hard to reach, with roaming monsters, ghosts and so much more. However, the place was once attacked by an angry mob led by mages and priests, who saw the witches as abomination and killed most of the teachers and students living there. Which is why, aside from Geralt and that one guy who died pretty quickly in Season 1, very few witches are left. Now this event was known as the Sacking of Kaer Morhen, and for those of you who might be interested in seeing it visually, you can just play the first game, or I do believe that there was a YouTuber who did a recreation of the events in the Witcher 3 game instead, so I'll leave a link for that in the description below. Anyways, the sacking did however see some survivors in the likes of Witcher Grandmaster Vesemir, Eskel and Lambert. Now these will be played by Kim Bonnier, always nice to see a Danish actor in anything that is medieval, Viking or just old age related, Basil Eindenbens, and Paul Bullion, whose performance you may have seen in Peaky Blinders Season 2. Wait, what? A 6th season is coming out soon? I need to catch up. This is all good. The whole problem that occurs stems from the fact that The Witcher may actually kill some of these characters pretty early on, which is just bad. Thanks to the beauty of Google notification, I found this article from CBR, which got the information from the Redanian intelligence, which reported that one of the scenes shot for Season 2 of The Witcher saw Eskel's corpse shot as it was being devoured by wolves. And in that very scene, Henry Cavill and Paul Bullion were also present, playing their respective roles as Geralt and Lambert. Now, this is bad news, and for several reasons. For one, As a person who got introduced to Andrzej Sapkowski's books through playing the Witcher series, if there's one thing that CDPR got right that they apparently cannot do anymore, was characterization. They introduced us to some tunes with whom we got to create some strong bonds, and which we will simply never forget. Rest in peace, Jackie Wells, Cyberblade 2077. Mind you, in both mediums, books and games, Eskel was an essential character to the series, while not being the type that will be in the spotlight or in the forefront, who will cause problems or will always be in trouble due to them not being able to keep their mouths, leave that to both Geralt and Lambert. He was a bit of a more reserved Witcher, but who always got the job done. And really I should not say was, because he still is very, very much alive.
Kaer Morhen. Can't imagine this place without Vesemir. I'll head down the valley soon, then find somewhere else to winter next year.
So obviously, second is, why in Zawaldo would you want him to die? That doesn't make any sense to me. The report does mention an encounter between the witches and a Leshen, wherein this encounter does result in some serious consequences. Of course, it's way too early to say what it means, but one conclusion could be made, being that this encounter might result in Eskel's death. But really, him being eaten by wolves, being symbolic for him being part of the wolf school, is kind of dumb. I think it feels very stupid. While I do understand that the whole project, after all, is up for their own interpretation, they are not straight up following what Sapkowski has made, I feel like sabotaging a beloved character like that, especially in such an early stage, which, by the way, they did decide to turn The Witcher into a Game of Thrones-like series, right? This means that they will have multiple seasons that they needed to do, so just killing somebody that is so beloved so early makes zero sense, and is frankly kind of dumb. But I digress. There's still a lot that we need to know about Season 2 before we even make final conclusions. There is the introduction of way more characters than I've managed to note here. Tormund from Game of Thrones is going to be introduced as well. I'm not going to spoil who he is, but for the readers there, a grain of truth. It's a fun one, and it's maybe fits his character from Game of Thrones. Sort of. I don't think that wildlings were exactly that crazy. But nevertheless, I'm very much looking forward to Season 2 nevertheless. But yeah, the Eskel thing situation, not too keen on seeing that happen. But what about you guys? Let me know in the comment section below what you're thinking about this. And I'm looking forward to Season 2 of The Witcher. And have a very nice day. I see you guys next time.
Days, make sure he's healthy. And you? Gonna stay on Speaker Rock?
Don't know yet. Gotta gather my thoughts.
I'm sure Yennefer must be grown impatient.
What is it with you and Yennefer? Mentioned her several times already.
Nothing. I've just noticed that you're often of one mind.
Saying I'm henpecked. Appreciate it if you didn't tell everybody in the Isles. They'll think I enjoy being dominated.
Farewell, Geralt.